We have a very big show today, and we're able to actually see Bird and Shally. We have Shally up here and Bird down here in this corner. And in the center, you have me, your host, Matt. Welcome to the show, everyone. And for those who are completely new, welcome again. So, I'm a newbie cruiser. You know, you'll kind of figure out as the show progresses, but later on we're going to have a couple guests come on. We have my co-host come on, and she's going to be talking all about the ports in extensive detail. And we have a lot of updates about the pending Hurricane of Doom coming, which is Hurricane IRMA. And for those who don't know, we are in wonderful Tampa area, which is exactly where the hurricane's path latest trajectory is going to be going right through. But do not fear, just like the Titanic captain and the musicians kept playing on the ship, as Shally knows all too well, we will continue the show until the end.
There's Chuckles.
Anyway, how is everyone doing tonight? I hope everyone's having a super duper weekend, and I hope everyone in Florida is safe and ready and prepared. So, I've been seeing a lot of different people preparing for the actual storm and not putting a lot of foresight into the effects after the storm. And what do I mean by that? Well, you know, the storm's pretty bad. There's going to be a lot of high wind and damage, probably glass broken, maybe even some homes slightly damaged or even destroyed in major parts of Florida. With that, you know, that's terrible. That's only going to last about 12 hours or so of the actual hurricane, depending on the parts of Florida you're in. The storm right now is about 400 miles long, which is approximately the same size as the state of Florida. That's pretty crazy. Let me just make sure I got Facebook up and going and mute this. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's good. Hey, Patty and Candy and Ron Hiller, how are we all doing? I am doing pretty good myself. A bit apprehensive about the coming storm, but okay, that's good. Not too much I can really do about it right now. Yeah. Good evening, Chris Akali and Kim Rodney. How are we all doing today? So, guys, question of the day. Do you guys book a cruise during hurricane season? Hurricane season is usually about August to early November, depending on the area. That's about hurricane season when it's at its peak. And the reason that it's hurricane season is we'll actually get to that in my science segment later on in the show, where I'm going to be going over how a hurricane forms and a couple other goodies. So that's going to be pretty fun. We have our guest on today, who is going to be Chuck Carmichael, who is going to be talking about his experience on the Carnival Valor, because he endured the whole entire vacation, plus a couple extra days, through the Hurricane Harvey. And Shally's also going to be briefing us a little bit on her experience of Hurricane Harvey, because she unfortunately was not able to make it last show. She was busy with hurricanes, and I'm not talking about the alcoholic variety either. So we'll get to that a little bit later on. And now everyone can see the wonderful face that she makes at me. You understand? Yes. Hello, everyone. Hey, Gibby937 on Periscope. How are we doing today? Of course, I got my alcoholic beverage of choice tonight, which is a carbonated alcoholic beverage of strawberry and lemonade. Because, you know, I don't want to give out sponsor names and whatnot there. Hello, everyone on Facebook. How are we doing today? Jane says, prefer to cruise in August through March. Candy Dupree on Facebook says, I book when it's best for me, so if it's hurricane season, yes. Versicalis is usually late November. Hey, Guy Davis, how's it going? Periscope people, do you guys normally book a cruise during hurricane season? Let me know in the comments below. Periscope just got modified as well, where we are able to see the comments and they don't automatically disappear, which is really, really helpful, because sometimes in the past I would glare over and the comments would go away within 10 seconds, and it's kind of hard to see this screen, this screen, this screen, this screen, that screen, and the other screens behind me. You guys can't see this, but there's a lot of screens over here. So I apologize in advance for some questions that I may miss. I have a couple people sending us questions too, and if you guys would like, please feel free to ask questions in the comments, and I'll try to get to them later on in the show. Josh Kaiser on Facebook says, no, I usually book March to May. Maribeth says, been out there with Dean and was springing around and it was very safe. Sorry, no, spinning around and it was very safe. Good, good. Hello, Ernie Abernathy. How are we all doing today? Judy says, I've got people here, including my son from Largo, and now here Irma is coming up to Alabama. So the latest news, and we have a couple different streams that we can pull to in case there's any breaking news. It's apparently going to be a Category 3 or 4 when it hits down in Key West. It appears to be looping around and going up, hitting through St. Pete and Clearwater, building up speed and increasing it by up to a Category 4 hurricane, and then going up to Alabama or so. By the time it hits northern Florida, Georgia area, it's going to be about a Category 1 or so from the latest news update that I've read, and perhaps even a tropical storm above that. Hey, Periscope people, how is it going? Hey, Cruisin' Cat. Gibby says, not opposed to cruising during hurricane season. Good. Our stream's good on that. Can everyone hear me and see me perfectly fine as well? Let me know in the comments below. Also, what do you guys think about my bandana look? I was trying to get maybe a new look going on as well, and I don't know if I like the bandana or not. Let me know in the comments below, and I will either modify or take off the bandana. Rob YCF says, let's see, going through these. Terry-Ann says, I definitely book usually during hurricane season, never ever have a problem, just got off the Grander of the Seas a few days earlier. I definitely came close this time. That's pretty lucky there. Hey, Ken Jordan, how are we doing? Susan says, I'm leaving out in October from Charleston. Hope we were able to go. Matthew delayed us last year by a week. Oh my. So there's even another hurricane as well. Whew. Hey, Debbie Smith, how are you doing today? So I'm a bit concerned still, because there's another hurricane forming. I believe it's Hurricane Jose that's coming up there, but apparently that's going to go up northeastern, which isn't too big of a deal for Florida, but my parents are in the Connecticut area, so I'm a bit worried about that for them. Hopefully my parents are watching the show tonight as well, so they can weigh in on the bandana situation as well. They're pretty opinionated about what I wear and how I color my hair, so I'm interested to see what they say versus other people's aspects. We'll get to that a bit after the show, though. Cruisin' Cat. Hello, how are we doing today? Yeah, we had to cancel our Periscope meetup this week, unfortunately, due to a lot of unforeseen, well, partially foreseen weather circumstances, but definitely we'll take a rain check on that, Cat. Maybe a hurricane check, actually. Guy Davis says, Matt, we have the conference from work in the Bahamas, August 2018, which I guess is hurricane season. Oof.
Bird,
good luck with that. Hello, Brian, how are we doing today? Rob YCF says, stop looking at your bandana. But it's a nice bandana. Bit nervous. We'll definitely see how this goes. I look older with the bandana. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Bird, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh.
So okay, can everyone else.
Oh.
And we can see you. Perfect! Now you know how I feel, especially when I have an itch on my face and I can't do that because it looks unprofessional. I gotta wait till those little video come up of Lucas or the Stingers. I'm like, okay, I got 2 seconds. Okay, back to this. And on tonight's cruise news, we're talking about those videos, guys. They're great, and I love them, but I think I appreciate them so much more than you guys because it gives me a chance to be able to stretch out a little bit or itch my face or just kind of move around a little bit more. I usually do my pre-show stretches beforehand, and it's very, very helpful. Let's see what Periscope's doing over here. Let's see. Nice. Kat, how are you doing? You are in Florida area, or did you evacuate, Kat? Susan says, oh, Matt, praying for all, especially Carnival family who try to take care of us. Thanks, Susan, I appreciate that. Hopefully, I don't think it'll be too bad. The biggest issue that I'm worried about is the power loss afterward. A hurricane shouldn't have a lot of extreme damage in the area that I'm in, and Bird should be relatively safe in the studio. He's not on the first floor of his apartment complex, so it's a bit out of, the flood surge zone, so we'll kind of see how that goes and play it by ear, but I mean, there's no sense of really worrying too much. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Anyway, guys, back to the question of the day. Do you guys cruise during hurricane season, which is usually August to the November area? Let me know in the comments below if you do. Let's see. Kat says, audio is skipping, going to Facebook. Okay, Kat, see you there. Periscope people, I apologize for that. You're welcome to join us on Facebook if there are any audio issues or video issues. Again, I apologize for that. Periscope's been having kind of a bit of a weird feed for us lately, but we are working on a solution. Let's see. Rob, we are in the Tampa area, so it's going to be hit pretty much head-on here with winds over 120 miles an hour. That's a pretty good time to fly a kite, so I'm very excited to see how my kite flying skills will help me in this area. But all jokes aside, it's a bit of a predicament. We have a couple cameras going on, and there's a lot of different live cameras that you are able to access from Key West, Florida, as well as more northern up. So while we're doing the show, I'm going to be looking at a couple other cameras as well. And even after the show and tonight and tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at those areas to see how affected those areas are, the water level, and a couple other different things, just to make sure I know what's going on and what to expect in those areas. But I am a bit nervous. It's definitely like an apprehensive, almost like pit in my stomach type of feeling, kind of just waiting for the inevitable to happen. We'll see how it goes, though. I'm just glad I'm a bit more inland than just right on the water. First caller says, are you nervous at all about Irma, or did I miss that? Yeah, I'm a bit nervous. Marquila says, hey, Matt, I have a 7-day coming up in November, hoping to avoid bad weather. November is usually like the end area. That's when the water starts to get cooler, and usually when the water gets cooler, hurricanes don't form well, and I will be going over how hurricanes form, as well as how they gain speed and lose speed and intensity later on in my science segment. Shockingly, I'm going to be talking about hurricanes. Yeah. Okay, guys, we have 1 minute left. That was 1 minute, not a hold on. Okay. Perfect, so I gotta do my re-strap. Stretches here going on, otherwise I'm not gonna stretch for quite a bit while. The only time I get to stretch is during commercial breaks or if we go live and pull up one person's mic or one person's video feed, then I get to kind of stretch a little bit there. Mike Strike says, places everyone, lights, camera. We got 28 seconds! Oh my goodness, time is flying by. I also got here super early today looking for gas. My car drives a diesel. No diesel literally anywhere. Yay! Fuel shortages! 10 seconds, everyone. If you have any final questions for our Chuck Carmichael, who was on the Valor during the Hurricane Harvey incident, please post in the comments below. On tonight's show, we are cruising and looking at different cruises during hurricane season. A fun photo of the week. A look at storm prepping as Irma approaches the Cruise Week TV studios. Shelly is back after coming out of her storm 2 weeks ago. Our guest this week is Chuck Carmichael, who was on the Valor during the last storm and will be describing his experiences firsthand. Lucas is also back with another Below Decks episode, and we have our photo of the week and the latest cruise news. Get ready for a packed show because this is Cruise Week TV Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by VMix. Hello everyone, I am Matt, your host on this stormy and windy night as Hurricane Irma heads towards us. Tonight, we decided since we are in the middle of 3 hurricanes destined to hit the Caribbean islands that we will dedicate our show to cruising during the hurricane season and the potential problems that they occur. If you are new to our show, we welcome you, and feel free to post comments in the chat rooms and even questions for our guests and myself, and I will do my best to answer them later on in the show. I am a newbie cruiser, but each week we bring on expert guests and people who work in the cruising industry to give us tips, tricks, and insights to help you cruise better and cheaper. Our photo of the week comes from the CCPPF group. This one comes from Robert Cooper, seen here on the beach with the ship in the background. Pictures like this definitely make me want to get back on a ship. We pick a group new each week. And we have a whole bunch of different stuff coming out on Facebook. We choose our favorite Facebook groups, and make sure you guys choose different groups. Oh my gosh. Make sure you guys look on Facebook groups each week because we choose a different group each week to choose our photo from. All cruise ships sailing out of South Florida have been forced to change itineraries or cancel cruises altogether due to the approach of Irma, a Category 4 hurricane that has devastated islands such as St. Martin, Barbuda, and the British Virgin Islands, and is now over the Turks and the Caicos, and the southeastern Bahamas. Irma was a Category 5 when it touched down on the islands. Royal Caribbean has canceled Empress of the Seas September 9th Cuba cruise, as well as the Enchantment of the Seas, Majesty of the Seas, Bahamas cruise, all scheduled to depart on September 8th. Norwegian Cruise Line has canceled Norwegian Sky September 8th cruise and Norwegian Escape September 9th cruise. Carnival has canceled Carnival Liberty's September 7th and September 10th cruises. Carnival Victory's September 8th cruise, Carnival Splendor's September 9th cruise, and Carnival Ecstasy's September 9th cruise. Disney Cruise Lines has canceled on Fantasy Sailing and 2 Dream Sailings, and Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line has canceled 2 cruises on Grand Celebration. Both Carnival and Royal have their offices in Miami, which is right in the path of the storm. With Royal shipping employees out of harm's way, literally on one of its own ships, I wonder if they have to keep working while on board. Norwegian Cruise Lines also did go to extreme measures and efforts to allow passengers to get home ahead of Hurricane Irma, but some travelers panicked when they left in the evacuation zone. 2 of the company's ships, the Norwegian Escape and the Norwegian Sky, were brought back to port in Miami before the scheduled end of the cruise, before Irma's expected landfall in Florida. The choice was made to allow passengers from Florida time to return to their homes to prepare for the storm and to give others on board the chance to return home if they wanted to avoid the storm. Roughly 4,000 remaining passengers who could not return home were brought aboard the larger of the 2 ships, the 4,266 passenger Escape, which was taken back out to sea to leave the region for the duration of the storm. We are being forthcoming with guests that are not certain when or where they will be able to return back to port. Cruise operators' choice to end voyages early and return to passengers to Miami caused confusion, however. The Miami Herald reported Thursday that some passengers have been stranded in South Florida just days before the storm is expected to hit. County officials said that they are coordinating with cruise lines to ensure that companies help passengers in the area find shelter. Meanwhile, family members of passengers who were left in Miami also took to social media seeking help for their loved ones. One woman posted a message on Facebook from her sister, who said that hotels were not taking reservations and that rental cars were unavailable. They assured them that they will be safe and fine. The woman said that in a comment on her post. Now they have changed their course, and arrival time and destination are literally leaving them stranded. Hours later, she posted an update that her family did manage to get a ticket for a flight out of Miami and had it to an airport. We have been assured that cruise line representatives have been working hard to make sure that travelers have been given shelter or a way to get out of Miami before the storm hits. Why use a travel agent over just booking direct with cruise lines? Well, personal service for one, and cash credit back is another. So whatever your cruise you are planning to be on, give Good Memories at Travel a call. You get the same great rates as booking yourself, plus you may get onboard credit or a customer reward. Yes, they actually give you money to go cruise with. They enjoy planning and helping with weddings and honeymoons. Good Memories Travel specializes in handling every aspect of your group cruise or family getaway, or that family reunion you've been wanting to plan. Imagine letting someone else do all the work while you get to relax. In fact, Debbie is handling our group cruise on the Horizon in 2019. But they don't just handle cruises for Carnival. They book cruises for all cruise lines, like Royal, MSC, Norwegian, and more all over the world. They're your one-stop place for everything when planning your cruise. Call Debbie for a free, no-obligation quote on your next cruise. What have you got to lose? Debbie can be reached at 321-338-2953, and of course through the website at goodmemoriestravel.com. And let them know you heard about us on cruiseweek.tv. Lucas has been enjoying himself on another ship and brings us this interview from Life Below Decks.
guys, this is comedian Lucas Bone. I was supposed to join the escape today, but because of Hurricane IRMA, the cruise has been canceled. So I decided to do some hurricane cruise tips for cruisers out there, because I've been in 2 hurricanes while performing on the high seas. So here are some of my tips for you if you get caught in a hurricane on a cruise ship. My first tip is always to bring laundry pods. Most cruise ships have self-serve laundry facilities someplace on the ship, and it's very easy and cheaper to do your own laundry rather than have it done by the crew. Also, always pack a water bottle. I like the stainless steel ones, not plastic ones that contain a built-in straw, because I find them easier to clean when you're out and about. I always think it's great to have a Kindle with you, because you never know how long you might be on a ship, and it's great to have a couple books already downloaded. With the high winds and waves common to a hurricane, it's important to have some kind of motion sickness pills with you, or the acupressure bands. Make sure you have a hard copy of your flights home from the ship. That way, if there's no good Wi-Fi, or the flights get canceled, or the ship gets rerouted, you will have your original ticket number and your booking code. I always keep a couple hefty trash bags with me, because they're great to cover luggage that might get left out or get wet in the rain, and also it can be used as a makeshift poncho if it's absolutely pouring out. I always travel with an external charger. That way, if my phone runs out of battery, I have a backup readily available. I always travel with high protein, either cereal bars or protein bars. Sometimes you're stuck at an airport or in travel and you don't have a reliable food source. They're great just to have to munch on to hold you over before your next meal.
Another reason I don't hang out with you guys too much is that the minute you guys find out I'm an entertainer and I work on the ship, you guys got questions. Number one question I always get asked, where do the comedians stay? Comedians stay in the crew cabins. Second question, where are the crew cabins? Crew cabins are at the bottom of the ship. Third question, how far down is the bottom of the ship? Let me put it this way, folks. If we hit an iceberg, I'm not gonna make it. And if you're at my muster station, you ain't gonna make it either. I meet at muster station F, because that's what you are when you meet at muster station F. My muster station is so far down, technically it's below the water line, okay? They ask you guys normal questions at a muster station drill. They'll say things like, are you with all of your family? Do you have all of your medications? Not at muster station F! They ask me questions like, how long can you hold your breath? Do you have a next of kin? We had a muster station drill today. I showed up to my muster station. My muster station attendant was a dang bottlenose dolphin, okay? I said, is this where I'm supposed to get my life jacket? He said,
Thanks, Lucas, for that look. Lucas will, of course, be back next week with more from below in the crew quarters. And remember to follow Lucas on his Facebook in the link below for all of his latest adventures. Hurricane season is in full swing this year, and we saw the problems in Texas and the distributions just 2 weeks ago to the cruise industry. And now we have Hurricane Irma that just devastated St. Martin and other Caribbean islands. It has caused the cruise ships to flee the area once again. Plus, we have yet a third one forming right behind Irma. So we want to know, and type it into the chat room right now. Hit a 1, that's again, hit a 1 if you book during hurricane season, which is August to early November, or hit a 0 if you would not book a cruise during hurricane season. I'm curious to know what you all do. So our guest tonight obviously does book cruises during hurricane season, because he was on the Valor during the last one and got an unexpected extended stay out there waiting for the storm to pass. Chuck, we are glad you made it home safe, and of course, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, Matt. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you on. So, you were on the Valor during Hurricane Harvey. Let me start off by asking, how long was your cruise intended to be, and then how long did it turn out to be?
It's an interesting question. I booked the cruise for 5 days, and it came up unexpectedly when my wife awarded a free trip. So we booked very shortly before the cruise left and went on Galveston for our 5-day cruise.
That's pretty interesting. What was kind of going through your mind as you realized that you were in a hurricane area?
Well, I, of course, been watching the weather, and I'd watched the hurricane storm move its way up towards Yucatan, over and across. And my attitude pretty much was, well, we'll be.
Interesting.
And,
What was the crew
you
like during
have
this
to be
whole...
flexible.
How did the crew really react to this? Were they pretty nervous, or did the crews and a lot of other people just kind of act like nothing really was going on?
The crews did a great job, and they never ever acted as though anything out of the ordinary was going on. And actually, it wasn't, because the way our cruise went, we only encountered bad weather on the way down to Cozumel as we passed the, at the time, tropical storm, as it was just north of the Yucatan. We were going southbound, and we have the hurricane bands and squalls out of it. After that, it was clear skies and smooth sailing.
That's pretty interesting. How many days do you think you had bad weather for exactly? Was it just one night? Did you even notice it really?
You know, Charles, it's interesting. Every cruise is different. This one, the way the storm moved and the ship moved, we encountered some bad weather that afternoon and that morning. And it never, I got rocked a little bit, but never anything out of the ordinary. The next few days, it was summer in the Caribbean until we headed back north.
Were there any ports that got canceled, or were you able to stop at maybe a different port that wasn't expected on the itinerary?
No, our trip, both ports that we made our trip, went first to Cozumel. Second port was Progreso and Merida, and we made both of those. By that time, Harvey was moved through the Gulf, and it turned himself into a hurricane. And by then, we were all looking at the weather map, thinking, uh-oh, because Harvey is going where we're going. And sure enough, we left Progreso, headed northbound. The captain came on and advised, he said, we're going to head up towards Galveston, and our plan is to always remain behind the hurricane. The hurricane is there, ship will be here, so everything moves forward. And it worked wonderfully. They did a great job keeping out basically any weather whatsoever.
With that, did any of the food change during this whole entire experience, or was everything pretty much the same as every other day on a cruise?
You know, it's pretty much pretty good eating. You know, everybody's eating the guys' burgers. I'd go get my pastrami sandwich. The beers were nice and cold. We even had our lobster at the seafood shack after the ship. Things are pretty much normal. Now, they may have been running low on food, but we never were aware of it.
Interesting.
As we progressed northbound towards Galveston, behind the hurricane, we were to arrive in Galveston Saturday morning, and so was the hurricane. Friday afternoon, we're so long, all of a sudden the ship turned, and as a matter of fact, my wife passed it. The boat just turned, and I thought, no, it didn't. Sure enough, it had. And shortly thereafter, the captain came on and said, folks, the hurricane is going ashore, Galveston, and averted. So we turned and headed to the Mississippi River for our first stop.
So, did anyone get off at any of the ports prior to leaving back into sea to try to make it home at a different time? Because I know being out at sea for quite a while, they either missed their flights or they weren't able to even book an area or a hotel room, or they had to change a lot of things around.
Exactly. Excellent question. And our first stop, we arrived Saturday, which was the same day we were scheduled back into Galveston. Of course, a lot of people on the ship had jobs, school, and other things they had to attend to. And they said anyone who wants to leave on their own is more than welcome to debark. All you had to do was go down and tell guest services you wanted to leave the ship, so they could, with the people, the immigration and customs in New Orleans. And I think the first time we stopped in New Orleans, there were about six or 700 passengers who did get off the ship. Most of these were people who lived other than Texas, and they could get on a flight out of New Orleans, go to Kansas City, New York, or other cities. There was a hurricane very close. I will say, I consider getting off the ship when we're stopped, because if Galveston went underwater and my car went underwater, why go to Galveston? So we were all watching it very closely, and I have to give kudos to Jason, who runs Easy Cruise Parking in Galveston. He was very, very good at line. He never won a prize while we're on. Turned out Galveston did not get the heavy flooding. They were afraid of the streets flooding, but not everything else. So Jason was very good at keeping his all prize of just what was what. So based on that, Pat and I decided, what the hell, we'll just stay on the boat. And we did.
With the stop at the Louisiana port, were you able to get off, kind of stretch your feet, walk around town, and go back on? Or once you were off, you were off?
No, actually, the way they work, that's a good question. When we stopped, the people that were debarking all left first so they could clear immigration and customs. After that, we all cleared immigration on the ship. We're all required to bring our passports or paperwork. And we went to the main lounge where customs, immigration met over our paperwork and basically entered us into the U.S. After that, we were free to leave the ship off and on as we wanted. Problem was, first time we were there, it was raining pretty hard. So Pat and I just decided to stay on board because we were going to leave that afternoon. We were told we would leave about 6 in the evening to go back out to sea and turn towards Galveston, that we positioned to arrive in Galveston once the hurricane moved on. And that's exactly what happened. About 6:30 at night, we steamed, down the Mississippi River, headed back out to sea. That was our first stop.
We have a question on Facebook from Carissa Colley. She says, during a hurricane, do you feel safer on a ship versus an area that's struck by it on land?
Well, as you're sitting in Tampa now with the hurricane bearing down on you, that's pretty good question. Yes, you're much safer on a ship if it is at sea, and obviously not another hurricane. And they could see it coming, and they pre-planned and, of course, stayed out of the worst of the weather. When you're on land, anything can happen. And so on a ship, you've got medical facilities, food, entertainment, and a bar. What more could a guy ask for?
I mean, that's when you really get your money's worth for the drink card. I'm hoping they keep it going on. I've heard a couple rumors that during hurricane areas where the cruise is extended a bit more, that they may give you some free drinks. I don't know, that's a rumor that I would really, really like to believe in. Did they compensate you or do anything special during that time period for your extended stay on the ship?
Actually, what they did, Matt, was they ran the ship just like a normal down cruise. And this is a funny story. My wife, on the day we went out and left New Orleans, figured that things would be cut back, whatnot. She likes casino. Long story short, she did not go to the casino for the 10:30 a.m. drawing. And of course, they drew her name, and she missed out $1,500. The best is they just ran things as normal. They didn't give any free drinks out, but everything else, food, entertainment, everything continued on just as usual.
Jane Saunders on Facebook asks, would you book another cruise during hurricane season, or has this experience made you kind of want to avoid the August to November area?
You know, that's because hurricane season, I would have to say, I'm retired. I have no real responsibilities other than a cat called Cooper. So everyone's situation is you have to be flexible, because if it happens, you have to go with the flow. And that's my answer to that. Most people I noticed on the ship were very good and relaxed and went with the flow. There were a few people, of course, that were inconvenienced and had problems with getting back to work and whatnot. And that's what made it so nice when we did go to New Orleans and people were able to get if they wanted to or needed to. That was the first time.
I mean, if I don't really have to worry about work, or if I need an excuse not to go and work, I would love to say, sorry, I'm on a cruise ship and there's nothing I can do about it. That would be pretty nice to me.
It really
the
is.
best to book.
You know, if you're flexible and you have a nice boss.
Very true, very true. We've got a couple more questions on Facebook. This one comes from Jeffrey Pooler. He asked, did you have to tip the staff every day that was extra?
Good question, Jeffrey. What they did when the cruise ended, we were given a letter by the captain, and he noted in the letter that none of the guests would be, no tips would be taken or added on any guest SNS card. I did ask several of the crew members, staff, the stewards, and waiter that I became, and both of them assured me that Carnival paid their salary, their pay just as they would if they're taken out. That being said, of course, we tipped extra and quite generously. The crew went out of their way to take care of everyone.
I mean, if I was the crew, I feel like the crew has to almost put up a huge amount more effort and energy, especially in a case where people are kind of freaking out, especially if they don't really know what's happening to their home or if they have family members or pets. Because if you're at the middle of the sea, a lot of people can't use their cell phones, so the crew really has to be on top. And you said they treated you pretty well, right?
Yes, they did. They were very good about that. And as soon as we diverted to New Orleans and were on their regular operation, they let everyone make free telephone calls, and they opened up the internet charge so that everyone communicated with home and whoever as they could. Of course, telephone communication was difficult because you gotta find a little your turn in the line, but it really did help everyone. As a matter of fact, when we were in New Orleans, I heard one gentleman I was standing there. He was on his cell phone, and he was talking to his car dealer. It seemed that's his car key in his car in Galveston. However, his car was in St. Louis where he was going to go. And the fellow was trying how to get car keys or a button for his car in St. Louis when he got home. And I'm pretty sure he was able to get his problem solved. So it certainly does help be able to have communication. Of course, that's extremely, extremely important when keeping families.
Mm-hmm. And you said you were in an area of
your creditors.
That's a very good point. You said you were in an area that your house wasn't really affected too much by the storm or anything of that nature, but a lot of other people with Harvey had severe flooding and damage. To get back to your area in other parts of Texas, how bad were the roads and other damage to kind of navigate through Houston back to other parts of Texas that a lot of people resided in?
You know, in amazement, I was going to have a very big problem one Friday morning. And that was 5 days after the storm. My greatest fears were, of course, road flooding and gasoline. At that time, Highway I-45, which is the main road from Houston to Dallas-Fort Worth, was completely open. You could not even tell. A few days earlier, where we all saw on TV, there were cars floating down the highway.
Oh, wow.
And again, was available at stations. You had to search, but it was available. I think that's because a lot of people in Houston had their cars underwater, couldn't drive them.
That's pretty devastating, especially if you're out on scene. You come back and you see all the damage. I don't know how to handle that. So I'm gonna wrap up I'm gonna ask you one final question. Do you have any advice for those who may get stranded out at sea during a hurricane season?
My advice is this. You just have to go with it. It's Mother Nature. You cannot fight it. I had dealt with it in my professional life for years. You deal with it the best you can in the safest way. Those guys on the cruise ships, they're very good at what they do, and they will keep you safe. You, as the cruiser, you just be as flexible, relax the best you can. I know that's easy to say because when you're worried about things at home, your house being blown away, your loved one, and you're in the middle of the sea and there's nothing you can do. But there just really is nothing you can do but hope for the best. And thank you for the prayers everyone sent while we were at sea.
Well, thank you so much, Chuck, for joining us. Really appreciate you with the interview. And if you guys have any final questions, make sure you guys ask them in the comments below, and we'll try to answer them later on. Okay, guys, that was a splendid interview. This show and all of the wonderful abilities we have to bring in guests remotely wouldn't be possible at the level we do without vMix. vMix is the live production software that powers our live show and many other high-end productions. From church services to football games, more and more live productions run on vMix. What our producer Bird really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way you can test it out risk-free before you buy for 2 full months. Then they have systems starting from just $350. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need vMix. Try it at vmix.com today. As Harvey has passed, Irma approaches. Not surprisingly, there's a lot of science behind hurricanes. Let me know in the comments below if you have ever evacuated an area for a natural disaster. If you have, what did you all bring? Anyway, hurricanes are the most violent storms on the earth. People call these storms by other names as well, such as typhoons or cyclones, depending on where they occur. The scientific term for all of these storms is a tropical cyclone. Only tropical cyclones that form over the Atlantic or Eastern Pacific Ocean are called hurricanes. Whatever they are called, tropical cyclones all form the same way. Hurricanes are like giant engines that use warm, moist air as fuel. That is why they only form over warm ocean's water near the equator. The warm, moist air over the ocean rises upward from near the surface. Because this air moves up and away from the surface, there is less air left near the surface. Another way to say the same thing is that the warm air rises, causing an area of lower air pressure below. Air from surrounding areas with higher air pressure pushes it into the low pressure area. Then that new air becomes warm and moist and rises too. As the warm air continues to rise, the surrounding air swirls in to take its place. As the warm, moist air rises and cools off, the water in the air forms clouds. The whole system of clouds and wind spins and grows, fed by the ocean's heat and water evaporating from the surface. When the winds in the rotating storm reach 39 miles per hour, the storm is called a tropical storm. And when the speeds reach 74 miles an hour, the storm is officially a tropical cyclone or hurricane. As the storm system rotates faster and faster, an eye forms in the center. It is very calm and clear in the eye, with very low air pressure. Higher pressure of air from all above flows down into the eye. Hurricanes usually weaken when they hit land because they are no longer being fed by the energy from the warm ocean waters. However, they often move far inland, dumping many inches of rain and causing lots of wind damage before they die out completely. Oh my goodness. Shelly is back, and we have missed her. As you know, Shelly, my co-host, lives in the state of Texas and was busy dealing with her own hurricane, and for once, I don't mean the drink. She luckily was okay and is back to join us and talk to us about more ports, well, the ones that are left. Shelly, welcome back.
It's really good to be back. It's been a crazy couple of weeks here in Houston. I posted a video last week, you guys saw, but it's been an eye-opening experience. Places that flooded that have never flooded before, and I guess my home can survive an 800-year storm is what they're calling it, like pretty much a once in a lifetime deal. It was 3 feet from my front door, so we were very blessed. There's so many people around us that lost everything, and when I see our house, and I'm just so, whew, bring some tears a little bit. I have to, be careful because it's been a rough couple of weeks. It really has.
I imagine it would be.
But I'm back. Yeah, the last time we were here, we were doing like a 2-part segment on excursions and, listening to all the hurricane stuff and watching the newscasts and everything. It almost seems like, is this important? Do we want to talk about this? But in all honesty, getting back to reality and getting back to a schedule and getting back to the normal things, like being a part of this show, it makes me feel calmer
and being with your
in the
favorite
midst
YouTube
of everything
host.
that's happened. Do what?
And being with your favorite YouTube host.
Of course. I've missed you, Matt. I've missed you. I feel tears welling up in my eyes a little bit. It's been an emotional couple of weeks, and just doing something that feels normal, it makes us all feel like we're, back to a normal routine and everything. It really helps. It really does. So, but our 2-part segment was basically last week. The last time we did it was all Cozumel, because I've been there like 187 times, of course, because I'm 180 years old or something, according to Bird. But anyway, so we did all Cozumel. I did all the things I've ever done in Cozumel, and then this week is all the other ports I've been to and the excursions that you might want to take a look at and might be interested in. So
I wonder which ones are still around and still able to visit while not being completely uninhabitable anymore. Like Barbuda.
Well,
gone.
You know what? I'm hearing some good things in CCPPF about, that no doubt there was a serious storm in a lot of our Caribbean ports that we all love and go to. But one of them was, I love that one lady was really concerned about Topher down in Jack Shacks down at Grand Turk. Everybody was really concerned if Topher was going to make it, if he was sheltered, and they did good. Topher's doing good from what I hear. Jack Siri down at Jack Shack, he's doing good. people that live in places like that deal with this a lot. I mean, even just a tropical storm, I mean, they deal with these things all the time. So it's not that it's not devastating to them, but they know they know the drill. They know how to rebuild. They know how to come back from it. So I'm sure they're just glad it's over with, and now they can get back to getting back to normal. So, but anyway, so if you want to head on to the excursions list, I have my notes here.
Let's get started.
Okay. So the first thing that the first thing that I want to mention is so I have just a list. So like I said on the last segment, it was all about Cozumel because I've been there so many times and done so many things. I couldn't do the show all in one and talk about everything that we've done. So this starts with Grand Cayman. Probably the most popular excursion that most people do when they go there, of course, is the Stingrays. It's a really neat experience. You're not in a cage, you're not in an enclosure, you're actually out in the ocean with wild stingrays and squid and ready to go, ready to feed them. And I did this through Captain Marvin's. The price for that is about $40 for 12 and over, and $30 a person, 4 to 11. Now, that's not free for children under the age of 4. And it's not an all-inclusive thing. I mean, you're going to go on the excursion. They're going to provide your snorkel equipment and some squid to feed the stingrays, but it's not usually a lunch included or anything else unless you perhaps go on the Carnival website. They probably have like a package deal with all that involved. Also in when I've been to Grand Cayman, Calico Jack's, it's like, it's not really like Mr. Sancho's in Cozumel. It's not like an entry fee. You can just go there. It's a beachside restaurant and bar in a really nice part of 7 Mile Beach. And you just pay as you go. You go in, you have to pay for everything a little bit at a time, a $2 chair, a $4 umbrella, your drinks, your food, it adds up over the day. But if you don't really know what you want to do in Grand Cayman and you just want to go hang out at the beach, it's a nice place to go because they have waiters and plenty of food and drinks to go around. So that's a lot of fun. When moving on to the next, any questions, or do I need to pause, or?
You're good. No pauses necessary.
Moving on. Okay. So, the next thing that I have done in Montego Bay, it's not my favorite port for Jamaica because just about everything you want to do in Jamaica is in Ocho Rios, which means that you can do all the things that they offer in Ocho Rios, but it's most of your excursion is spent travel time. So while you're in Montego Bay, I've done a couple of things there. We did with Javier Shaw with No Jamaica Tours. He customized a tour for us for the day. They have pre-made packages where they offer this, that, and the other, and it's all part of the thing, or you can just contact them and they can help you plan a day that you're interested in. What we did was a river tubing. Our excursion included the transportation to and from, river tubing, lunch, and a little bit of beach time. And he also took us to Margaritaville where we could eat and drink there at our leisure. The next thing I've done in Montego Bay was through Carnival. That was a Carnival excursion. The beach getaway with unlimited food and drinks. It's basically an all-inclusive beach resort where you go and all the drinks, all the food, the chairs, the umbrellas, everything is included. Most times, if you want to parasail or jet ski, that stuff's a little extra. It's a fun thing to do. Montego Bay wasn't my favorite. I'm looking forward to going to Ocho Rios, but Montego Bay, I mean, there's not a lot of different things to do, but that's a good choice if you just can't figure out what you want to do. Beach, booze, food, you can't lose. So moving on to the next thing, this was also a Carnival excursion. This was the Land Rover and Cave Expedition. I did go on the Carnival website, and it looks like to me that they don't offer this particular excursion anymore. But Belize is all about adventure. It's about zip lining, ATVs, river tubing, cave excursions. They have a lot of jungle. They have a lot of adventurous stuff to do. You can go on Carnival, around $100 a person will do any one of those things. I was kind of sad to see the Land Rover thing wasn't there. That was fun. You got to drive your own Land Rover through the jungle, and so that was fun. We have any questions or anything, or should I keep moving on?
Yes. Jeffrey Fuller is asking about Belize, and I believe you're going to be talking about them in the next couple ones, correct?
Yeah, we have a couple things that I've done in Belize. Yeah.
Nice. I really enjoy Belize too. I think my favorite excursion was also the cave tubing. Really, really fun.
It's a very adventurous place. If you like doing zip lining and hiking and being out with nature. A funny little story. We were going from the Land Rover to the cave. It was a Land Rover / cave expedition, and we're going through the jungle to get to the cave. And the guide stops and he says, here's this tree that has these. It's one of the hottest peppers in the world. And my son was all, oh, I want to taste it. He was like, well, you can, I promise. And he was choking and coughing and his eyes were watering. But, hey, you got to learn. Got to learn, boy.
Is Belize a tender port, by the way, or can you book or cruise right up to it?
No, it is a tender. Belize has a beautiful coral reef that they don't want interfered with by the cruise ships and the big dock that they build in some of the other islands. So when you dock in Belize, you do have to get on the tender and your water taxi, and it takes you over to Belize, where you go to the tourist center where they pretty much drop you off, and then you head out to whatever excursion you picked from there.
It was a particularly long tender ride, I believe, especially since they left at 2 different times in the morning. I can't remember. I was half asleep, barely had any coffee because Bird made us go on the earliest one while we were doing a bunch of filming beforehand. He's like, go out, have fun all night. By the way, I forgot to mention we're leaving first thing in the morning.
Be on deck 9 at 8:30. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. So with Belize, the other thing that I've done in Belize, we did the Land Rover and cave excursion, and I've been there a couple other times since then. It's not, I do love, Belize is a great place. It's not my favorite port though. So there's been a few cruises lately that all I've done is really get off the ship and go to, they have the tourist section, and there's food, drinks. They have a pharmacy if you need to pick up any of your prescription medications. I get a little heartburn now and then, pick up my little Nexium prescription while I'm there. So, that's what Belize is. But there again, if you're an adventurous person, there's tons of things to do. River tubing, cave tubing, it just goes on and on. ATVs, jungle, hiking, you name it. So the next place that I would talk about that I've been to, we've been to St. Thomas. When we were in St. Thomas, we got off the ship. We grabbed a taxi, and it was about a 15-20 minute taxi ride to Coki Beach. And hold on to your seats, because these taxi drivers drive like crazy. I mean, I felt confident he knew what he was doing, but I was scared. I mean, it was like turning and twisting, and we were going about, 45 miles an hour. I was a little scared, but it was fun. So just hold on to your seats. Coki Beach, when you go there, it's not an all-inclusive beach. It's not where you do. I don't even. Oh, I didn't even write that down, but if I remember correctly, it's not even an entry fee to get in. It's when you go to the beach, they're going to charge you for everything. Your chair, your umbrella, then you're going to sit there, and then all the drinks that you order from the bar. And then they have dog biscuits that you can buy to feed the fish, because they're right next to the most beautiful reef. With sea urchins and all kinds of fish. You can do snuba there, you can do scuba, and all around you are these beautiful mountainous scenery. It's a very beautiful beach. It's expensive anywhere in the Virgin Islands if you're going to go do something, but basically you'll get there and you'll pay for everything that you do. So take your credit card, take some cash, you know, it'll cost you a little bit. Moving on to the next place that I've been, we did do a cruise that went to Old San Juan in Puerto Rico. We had a great time there. The ship literally parks right across the street from Old San Juan. So what we did, most of the tours there are already a city tour of some sort. So instead of paying someone to do that, we just got off the ship at our leisure, found a place to eat, found some shopping, sightseeing, doing our thing. But I will warn you, we went on that cruise. It was July, and it's so hot in San Juan in the middle of July. Up and down the streets and the old cobblestone roads, we were so hot. We probably we got off the ship about 9 a.m. By noon, we were melted hot. We were like, let's go back to the ship, get a snack, and I'm taking a nap. So that's basically, but we saw some beautiful things. You can walk around and see all kinds of pretty things there. You don't have to pay to do anything really there in Old San Juan, and you know, an excursion. You can walk around and do it on your own.
I heard Puerto Rico is very similar to the aesthetics of Cuba, where they have very old types of buildings and a lot of structures that are kind of the early 1900s. Can you kind of describe what the streets were like? Were they like other ports that you visited, or are they kind of their own thing altogether?
No, it almost reminded me now I haven't personally been to Europe, but you know, when you see things like, for me, when I see things in movies and television when you're in Europe about very narrow streets, cobblestone roads, up and down, you know, they just went with the flow of the island. Real tight quarters, lots of stores very close together, but you could tell how old they were and how long they had been there. You can walk to I don't know the name of it. I should probably, but I've only been there once. But the fort right there that looks out over the bay there. I mean, you can walk to that. There's some great restaurants that have been there forever, serving wonderful Puerto Rican cuisine. La Races, I hope I'm saying that right. Races. They're the ones that have been on that Travel Channel that have that giant chicharron pork fried craziness, but it's like this big, and you know what, you're a foodie, Matt, you know what I'm talking about, the big
yeah.
So anyway, it's delicious, but great food. The people are very friendly. The ship is literally across the street, but it was like 127 degrees. I thought we were going to die.
So bring an umbrella.
We headed back to the ship. I wish I would have. With my white skin, I'm so fair and I burn so easy. I wish I would have, but it was a great day. But of course we went in July. If you go in not in the middle of the summer, it's always warm in the Caribbean, but July is exceptionally hot. So anyway, moving on. I don't want to be told I'm long-winded. The next place I've been to was Moon Cay, which is Carnival's private island. Love it. It's such a neat place to go. What we did, this is really only cost effective if you have enough people to split it with you. But if you have at least 8 people, you can rent the beach villa. Now, this is not the cabana. This is the Big Daddy. This is the villa, the 2-story with the hot tub and the kitchen and the private patios, and you get the snorkeling equipment and the floaties. You have access to everything. It's $499 for the day. But again, if that's, 8 people, it's only about $40 a person, and it really is nice. So it's a 2-story deluxe beach villa. Now, this is a Carnival excursion. Of course, this is a Carnival island, so anything that you buy on there is going to be through Carnival. They have it has a hot tub, a refrigerator, ceiling fan, a dining area, tables and chairs. It has a misting shower, a private sun deck. You are also given, with the cost of your villa, you have unlimited supply of fresh fruit, vegetables and dips, chips and salsas to snack on, an assortment of soft drinks and bottled water. I think the one complaint I have about Half Moon Cay is that they set it up as a carnival excursion. And
Mhm.
Carnival owns it. In fact, because of that fact, they have a pavilion set up that feeds you lunch. It's not an extra cost because it's part of Carnival. They
Mhm.
feed you lunch and it's not an extra cost. But the Pirate Bar, which is where all the alcohol is served, you cannot use your cheers.
Mm.
And so you have to pay for each drink separately, even if you purchase cheers. And, you know, I'm a Carnival cheerleader. I love Carnival, of course. I wouldn't have CCPPF if I didn't, but that bothers me a little bit. I think that if it's a Carnival island and that it should, they're feeding us lunch, so they are admitting it's a Carnival, everything is included and sponsored. I feel like that your cheers package should be included, but it's not. So anyway, a quick tip, if you do rent Villa A, it is closest to the bar, so you don't have to walk as far. And also, a lot of people don't know this. You pay for the excursion, but you aren't actually assigned the villa until after the sailing begins. So the very first thing you want to do is walk down to guest services and tell them, I want Villa A. It's closest to the bar, and they will assign it to you and then randomly assign the rest of them. If you request the villa, they'll give you the one you want. If A's not available, go for B. But anyway, so moving on from the beach villa. The next any questions, or we keep moving on? We're doing
Moving
good?
on. Doing good.
Okay. So the next place, one of my most favorite places I've ever been, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been, Little French Key in Roatan. When you go on your excursion there, they have a zoo, they have zip lining, horseback riding, they have snorkeling on the second largest barrier reef in the world, a second only to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Wonderful food, drinks. You get to hold monkeys and pet birds and do whatever you want to do. It's a great place. I love Little French Key. Go to their website. Packages start at $88. It depends on what you want to do. If you want to be included in everything, or if you just want to be able to go and snorkel and have some drinks, they have packages for everybody. That's a great thing to do while you're in Little French Key. Next, we got the Bahamas. I've been to Freeport and Nassau. When we went to Freeport, we did the Viva Wyndham all-inclusive resort. If you go to Viva Wyndham online, it just takes you to the hotel. You need to go to resortforaday.com and bring up the in Freeport. It's an all-inclusive resort. You get to go there for the day. Transportation is included. They have a trapeze. They have beach volleyball. They have a 50-foot pool. All the food, all the drinks, everything you could possibly want. And believe me, the drinks are strong.
Mm.
It was a little rough getting back on the ship that day, I will admit. But anyway, we took these with us. You know, we were like, hey, can you just put my drink in here? And they're like, sure. So yeah, it was,
What was
they
the
were good to go.
drink of choice for that type of day?
For me, I like to stick to the basics. You know, I usually go with something easy like Sprite with vodka and a splash of cranberry, something like that. But they're
Jaeger,
making
Red Bull.
hurricanes. They're making all kinds of stuff. I noticed on Joe's show last week something I really want to try. He said he was drinking raspberry vodka with soda, as in club soda.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know? Because that sounds really good. It would like tweak the sweetness a little bit. We'll have to ask him about that.
Some type of beer or something like that. I want to be able to.
Well, but no, he had a really cool little glass, and it was sparkly and kind of pink with the little ice cubes, and he said it was raspberry vodka and soda. So that sounds good. I'm gonna have to try that. But anyway, that was great. That was $89 for an adults and $55 for kids, all inclusive at the Viva Wyndham. Next would be in Nassau, Paradise Ocean Sports. That was a lot of fun. They need to get better organized as far. We had a group of about 40 people, and they want you to sign all these papers before you go. That could have easily been done online before we even got there. We wasted 45 minutes just filling out paperwork. But aside from that, they offered everything. They take you out on a catamaran, snorkeling, it's everything. Snorkeling, entertainment, jet ski, banana boat, parasailing, and exploring the island. It's all included. And lunch is also included. Adults are $144 and kids are $120. But let me remind you, if you go to Mr. Sancho's San Cozumel, you're going to pay $60 to jet ski, $60 to parasail, $60 to go on a banana boat ride. So when you look at the cost, when they offer everything that you could want to do out in this beautiful water in the Bahamas, it really is a good value. You have to book online to get those prices though, because apparently if you book through an outside company, they're higher, but they give you a discount if you book them online. And the very last thing that I have is one of the funnest things that we ever did. If you go in Key West, which Key West, I've been at work most of the day. Where are we at with Key West as far as damage done? Do we?
Right now, the hurricane should just be at Key West. We believe that it's going to be a Category 3 or 4 hitting there. I've been prepping for the show since about 7 p.m. and it should have just started hitting it there. We're getting slight rain up here in Tampa area. Key West is getting hit pretty hard, but thankfully it's kind of going around it and the eye isn't going directly over it. And from my science section, we know that the eye of the storm is calm, but right around the eye is the most intense wind speeds. It's going to be flooded. That biggest area for
Key West. I have special memories in Key West for several different reasons, and I just thinking of, I mean, such a classy, beautiful, clean. It's like New Orleans, and I love you, New Orleans. I'm not being ugly. But it's like New Orleans minus the pee smell and the puke, right? I mean, can we all be honest here? I mean, it's all the bars and all the drunks having fun and having a great time, but they really keep it classy down there in Key West. They really, drunks are encouraged to move along instead of hanging out. But anyway, the last thing on my list was Key West.
Speaking of drunks and having fun.
Yeah. So Key West, what we did was our own customized Key West pub crawl. We did it as a group. It's not an excursion. I think that there are probably some websites you can go to or TripAdvisor where you can get the same sort of excursion. But I have a wonderful copy of a great route that you can take. As soon as you get off the ship, you head to the furthest bar on the list, and then you work your way back up, having one drink or more at each bar.
How many bars
I have
are on
a
that
copy.
list?
Well, you only have a certain amount of time. So I think it was either 5 to 7. I mean, there's bar after bar after bar after bar. So, I mean, you have to be organized.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be organized so that, you can't stop at every bar or you wouldn't make it back to the ship.
I can try.
In this particular, right, you can try. But in this particular list, this is a tried and true. It's got some really good landmark bars, the smallest bar in Key West.
Okay, we have a update right now from the live news feed that we're going to go to right now.
Personally, throughout the state, since our arrival yesterday afternoon, they have been gracious and they have been kind and they have been patient beyond any understandable means. But so far, the line is holding in Florida, and we certainly hope the best for everyone as we go throughout what will be a very long night tonight, ongoing coverage here. We'll be up again tomorrow morning early, and we'll take you through the rest of Hurricane IRMA. We'll figure out what she does when she does it at daybreak, Julie.
Yeah, Bill, it's been incredible to see the number of volunteers, and the governor has praised those people. And I just, again, for all those people who are volunteering to help those people, the thousands in shelters tonight, thank you.
They need it.
I'm Julie Banderas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you, Bill. Justice with Judge Janine starts right now.
So it appears the eye of the storm is still off the coast of Cuba right now, and that it's going to be a Category 3 when it arrives at Key West. And it's going to be heading more westward out of the area of Florida into the Gulf of Mexico, gaining more momentum, more speed, more energy, and going from a Category 3 to a Category 4, which is the area that I'm going to be living in, which is going to be, hey, already 70,000 power outages in Florida as well. And as you can see, we're not one of them yet. Tough stuff. Anyway, so that's...
Oh, okay. Well, I was just on the tail end of what I was saying about Key West, is that we did a pub crawl, and that I if anyone wants to contact us and have the printed itinerary that we did for our pub crawl, it's a great pub crawl, several landmark bars that you'll want to visit while you're in Key West anyway. The last stop being Sloppy Joe's, which is a great place. It's been in Key West since the 1930s. They have a Hemingway look-alike contest once a year, and we just happened to stumble across that on our last cruise. It was a lot of fun. And while you're there, get the Sloppy Joe French fries. If you want to know how Sloppy Joe's is supposed to be done, you go to Sloppy Joe's. It's very good. It's very good. We had a great time. So, of course, get some key lime pie. Everybody has to get the key lime pie. Blue Heaven has the best, so go there.
Key lime pie is, of course, always my favorite, and it makes the best shot, too, if you ever try it. Again, on the...
that's so funny you said that, Matt, because that's my signature shot that I always serve in the cabin crawl on the group cruises. Have you heard of Kiki lime liqueur?
I have not.
No?
I'm sure I will get very familiar with it, though.
I will send you a private message. It's spelled Keke, and it's key lime pie liqueur. You're supposed to serve it in a martini glass with a garnish of graham cracker crumbs.
Ooh.
It tastes just like a key lime pie, and it gets you drunk. It's so worth it.
That sounds like a perfect recipe to me.
You'll love it. It's great.
Nervous about this hurricane coming up. Anyway, guys, so we are going on our group cruise in 2019 on the Carnival Horizon. This is being put on by our good friends at Good Memories Travel, and we would love to get our community on there with us. It is February 23rd of 2019, and we hope to have our entire team on board and having a blast with you all as we are enjoying one of the Carnival's biggest and newest ships. The entry for the $500 drawing has also been extended, so you can be entered into that when you book. There is a webpage for the cruise, and that is at cruiseweek.tv/groupcruise. Let us know what you would like to see on that. So, guys, we really appreciate you guys watching the show, especially during this section of the Hurricane Irma slowly approaching us. We want to thank Cruising Cat from RC's Periscope group for helping us out over there in Periscope chat. And if you guys want to see a lot of live streams from people on ships, head on over to RC's Periscopers group on Facebook for a list. Also, guys, if you know anyone at all that would be interested in being a part of our Cruise Week TV family, make sure you guys tell them about it, share it to their wall, or even just sharing our stream and subscribing to our YouTube really helps us out a lot. I'm Matt, and hopefully I don't get blown away by Hurricane Irma. And as always, we'll see you on the ships.